Hey everyone, it's Scoopman 5000. We're back for another video. Today we're going to recap my experience and my pickups at New York Comic Con 2025. So that's right, another year, another Comic Con. I've been going to these since 2015, so this would mark 10 years. Not 10 conventions, because there was a little global shutdown in the middle, but I think it's my 9th Comic Con, my 10th year, and this is my favorite event of the year. This is Christmas for me. It's a big toy store, basically, is how I treat it. This year, though, it was a little different. I did actually dabble in some comics and also some meet and greet action, which I'd never do. It's not really my thing. Part of the reason I did that was because it was Sunday. And to me, it's like, I don't like to go Sunday. This is a 4-day event. So this is 3 previous days of people picking through toys that I could have bought. And the 2 major culprits here was Mondo and Mezco. Both companies cleaned out by the time I was there. I went there early on Sunday as the doors opened because I wanted to see the Two-Face Mondo figure. I saw online somewhere that Two-Face from Mondo was going to be first to market for sale at New York Comic Con. I went right up to Mondo, and the guy looked at me like I had 2 faces. I don't know, I guess I made that up. I feel like I got Mandela effect or some other sort of psychosis, but I guess that Two-Face was never going to be at the convention. They did have a bunch of other stuff that sold out, though. They had Clayface, Venom. Those are figures I probably would have picked up, at least one of them. I only have Mr. Freeze, but Two-Face is my all-time favorite villain. I'm going to pick him up. And then Clayface and Venom, they rank up there for me too as like characters I would buy a Mondo for. That Clayface especially is beautiful. It's a big, gigantic fucking piece of plastic, but probably one of their most impressive Mondo figures. Mezco was sold out of Red Hood. I'm fine with that because I'm not a huge Red Hood guy, but I was on the fence because I have a lot of Batman Mezcos. It would go with my collection. Maybe that was God telling me I didn't need to spend $100 on a figure I didn't really want. But anyway, then I started the convention properly. I do a snake formation, right? I kind of go all the way like east end of the building and then go up and down every aisle all the way to the end on the other side. My best pickups were on either end. So starting at the eastern end, the first end I went to, the first major thing I saw was Major itself. The Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, Collect Major, and their line of big rubber guys. So the first pickup of the day was this guy right here, Captain Joe Shoes, Major Bendy. Now this guy, you probably would only know him if you're a real like listener of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, if you're in that community. This is actually his 3rd figure, so for being basically a character on a podcast, he's had a hell of a figure run. And I did get a picture with him, and it's in front of this awesome backdrop, like you're in front of like you're inside of the Big Rubber Guy box. And then also I got my own picture hitting the double buy, Macho Man style. And I did pick up their show exclusive Big Rubber Guy, Brian Myers. And as he inscribed it, Brian Man, because he's in this Iron Man inspired gear. I can open them and show you the back actually has TNA on it, because these guys, while it is a signed figure, it is a resealable package, right? You just slip this. Well, I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'll show you guys. And I did see this artwork. It's Matt and Brian and Sergeant Slaughter in all their USA glory. You could see it signed by Matt and Brian, who were there, by the way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but not Sunday. Sergeant Slaughter was there too. He had his own sort of setup right next to them, but his prices are just kind of out of my wheelhouse. For a guy that I didn't grow up watching, he's an icon. I have his figures because I think that's the way I choose to celebrate Mr. Slaughter is, you know, his action figures. I have the G.I. Joe, the Action Force, the Ultimate Edition, but I don't need a photo and I don't need an autograph from him, really. He's a legend. He deserves to charge whatever he wants, but just not for that price for me, pal. Then as I was leaving Major, I did see to the side of me was Pro Wrestling Tees, which is a huge company, right? They do the shirts for AEW. I don't think they've ever been at New York Comic Con, so I walked over, checked them out. Before I knew it, I was rocking a Superhausen t-shirt, or at least I bought it. And I did get the Micro Brawler to go alongside it. Now the guy selling shirts said, hey, Danhausen's right here. He's about to sign. There was like 3 people online in front of me, so I said, why not? But as I'm lining up and I'm watching him take photos, I see them handing little tickets over. So, okay, I guess I forgot to buy the photo op. So here you go. Here's $40. Oh, but then can you sign my figure? Oh no, that's another 40. So by the end of it, t-shirt, figure, photo, autograph, I'm down like 150 plus in Danhausen merchandise, which is ironic because I met him last year and I just said, can I take a selfie? And he just did it for free. But this was Superhausen. And I do like him. He's a figure guy. He's very nice. So I'm fine supporting him. But it's just kind of funny. In a way, I was kind of a certain amount in, and I thought that was it, and then it was extra charge on top of that. But I know how the business works, brother. You gotta get that bag at these conventions. And again, with Sergeant Slaughter, right? You charge for the picture, you charge for the autograph. That's their livelihood. So, no problem with that, but a little bit of a story. So the next thing I knew was going to be there, and it was actually right in the corner, same as Pro Wrestling Tees, was the DC booth. And I wanted to get this, the issue preview of AEW versus DC, or Cross DC. Very short comic. It's like literally 5 pages, just kind of sets up the premise of this Intergalactic Wrestling Federation versus AEW Forbidden Door. I'm not a big AEW guy these days, but I do think, this is a cool crossover. I do think this crossover is good for wrestling in general. It'd be funny if now WWE said, hey, let's team up with Marvel, because now they're with ESPN. All that's under Disney. So sort of be like, hey, we're the big leagues, brother, and here's the number 2s, AEW and DC. But again, I'm happy to see this crossover, whether or not I'm a big AEW guy right now. Then after that, I was sort of out in the middle, in the floor, and that's where my bread and butter lies, the figure vendors. And there was a decent amount of them, but I just kept looking at walls of figures. You find WWE Elites, you find Star Wars Black Series, Marvel Legends is always like flooded, Funko Pops flooded, even Hot Toys you'll find, statues, all kinds of stuff, right? For me, I'm a DC Multiverse guy on this channel. You know that. Obviously, Mattel Wrestling is a huge collection as well, but I go to these conventions, I'm looking for DC Multiverse. And I looked at walls and walls of DC Multiverse figures, and I said, I own every single one of them. So, I guess you get to a certain point in collecting. I guess the ones I'm missing are the ones everyone else is missing. They're not going to be there on Sunday at this massively attended event 4 days in. So the only pickups that I got at these figure sellers, this guy right here, the Zombie Death Trooper from Ahsoka. This is from Star Wars Black Series. Now, the Ahsoka television, Disney Plus, not really great in my opinion. I mean, there was some good moments, but just felt kind of cheap. But I do love some troopers, and especially a zombie trooper. I remember a book when I was little called Death Troopers, and I just remember that cover of like this chopped up stormtrooper mask. And this is around the same time as Marvel Zombies, at least when I discovered those things. I was in like my zombie mood, I guess, but something about, seeing these icons, Star Wars and Marvel, being zombies, that fascinates you as a kid. So this is great. And a lot of awesome sculpt work on this guy. Not only the zombie face, the bitten out chunk of the mask, but even these cracks, and they're filled in with gold. So Zombie Death Trooper. I also picked up this guy, the redheaded rebel, Heath Slater, baby. This is a basic figure. This was in like a Lucy bagged up figure situation. And this is the jobberest of jobber, Heath Slater. This is after the Nexus, and it's before the 3MB. This is the core Heath Slater. I found out this came in a 2-pack with Justin Gabriel. But now I am the proud owner of a core Heath Slater figure. And then, I almost forgot, but I did also find some Lego minifigures. As if I'm not buying enough, I'm buying Legos too. So I found Frozone here from The Incredibles. I think this was part of the blind bags. And then this guy really brought me back. The Crystal Skull Alien from Indiana Jones. Loved Lego Indiana Jones. Before I even saw the movies, I was playing with the Legos. This was the hot movie at the time, The Crystal Skull, which I will defend until I am dead. I love the Crystal Skull. Definitely brought me back some good memories. So I'm out in the show floor walking around. I did actually end up with some comic books and some floppies at that, right? I mean, obviously the AEW one. I'm a trade paperback guy. I like to get it when it's complete. It's a 6-issue, 12-issue, whatever. I can sit and read it in an hour or two. The month-to-month buying floppy comics, I can't do that. I'm already doing that with figures. I can't be like catching up on stuff and trying to find. It's not for me, but I did end up with a couple here. So I found this Space Ghost comic. There's a recent one I've been reading, but now this is brand new. So maybe that series I'm reading is over. But I'm a big Space Ghost guy. I made that custom figure a few months back. I've just been on a Space Ghost kick, and this guy signed it. He was the cover artist. Oh, look, we even got a COA right there. So it's a limited edition, and it's signed. Josh Lyman is the cover artist here. And then another comic that I knew was going to be there. I saw something, a tweet maybe, was Harley Quinn and Elvira. And Elvira's obviously before my time, but you can always go back and watch these things, right? And it's Halloween season. I do like Elvira to an extent, and Harley Quinn, obviously, DC. So I thought this would be a fun crossover. I read this issue, and it's kind of brutal. I mean, there's some maybe clever things in there, but Harley Quinn has really just been, I don't know, man. Like, it reminded me of that Bruce Timm Harley Quinn and Batman movie, and that's not a compliment, even though I love Bruce Timm. I mean, the Harley cartoon, I watched a bit of that, and it was a little better. But I guess I'm not reading like modern Harley stuff at all. The only thing that I've read with like a major presence of Harley Quinn is the White Knight series, which is to me like the best Batman out there. I wish that was adapted in everything. Toys, cartoons, movies, like that's Batman in its perfect like diffusion, but he also does his own stuff with it. I guess it's a bit fan servicey at times, but I think White Knight overall is like this epic trilogy of books at this point. And there was a Harley Quinn book as well that I liked. I like that depiction of Harley. She's more mature. But anyway, this is not that. This is kind of brutal. Just some of the writing for Harley. It borders on cringy. And then I found this book as well at that same booth. I didn't really read the title, but it does say commissionary positions. This is actually just an art book. It's art commissions by this artist, Dawn McTeague. Female artist, all right? So I'm not a gooner, I'm supporting. I did flick through it. If I have an art book, I want it to be a bit more substantial. So an art floppy is new to me, but anyway, that was that. About in the middle of the floor is where NECA was. That's where Mondo was in the beginning. Walmart was there, and I did stop by that Walmart booth, and they had a bunch of the figures on display from McFarlane DC. I wish they did just have them in person. That'd be a lot easier. The only things they did have in person from Todd was these Spawn figures. So I did pick up the two Spawn 77 figures, and these did also each come with an issue of a comic. It's the same comic for both, but Spawn 77 right there. Now this, if you don't know, is actually, this version of Spawn is the drawing that Todd made when he was a kid, and he claims this is the first ever idea he had for Spawn. Really what sold me on these guys was the weapons. And these are repaints too, but I like the red accents, the little skulls on them. I think there's fun to be had. I do like this design a lot. So I got the blue version, which I think is most faithful to that original artwork. And then this is more of the modern color scheme on the classic design and a different set of weapons here. I did pass on the Rat City Spawn figure. That sort of futuristic design doesn't really do it for me. So that was a lot more walking. About 2/3 or like about in the middle of the convention is sort of this mini artist alley. Or it's a lot of people selling like posters and metal prints and stuff like that. A lot of AI artwork is just infested in these places, honestly, which is a little sad to see. The only thing I really got there was this little art print. It's the black cat wearing the symbiote suit, and it's on like a Maxim cover. This is another female artist, Jamie Tyndall. I picked this up because the suit reminded me of Tobey's in Spider-Man 3. Which is the GOAT. And I like the artwork. I do like the style here. It's very 90s in my opinion, the shading and everything. I don't know what you do with like small prints like this. I guess you hang them up the same as you would a poster, but it is kind of weird. A little small form factor. But my final item was a pretty big boy purchase. I was at Hasbro. They were all the way in the corner, but they had a great display, you know, a great showing this year. Not only the Star Wars, not only the Marvel, but a nice Tron setup. They have both the original and Tron Legacy. I don't know if we're getting any Jared Leto's anytime soon, because that movie's flopping, unfortunately. But Tron Legacy, I'm in on that. I'll probably pick up a few of those. I walked up. They had the exclusives for this year. They were still in stock, right? It was the Super Skrull, and it was the Mace Windu versus Darth Sidious 2-pack. Super Skrull I could care less. It's just not, you know, a character I really care for. And then with that Star Wars 2-pack, I'm like, I already have that Revenge of the Sith Palpatine in the red robe, and I have a Mace Windu, I'm pretty sure. If I don't think he's that hard to find. So I don't need this 2-pack. But of course, while I was looking at their menu, I did see this. G.I. Joe, we got Cold Slither. Check that out. Zartan and his crew. Now, I'm not a huge G.I. Joe guy. I've only really gotten into it since Classified has been a thing. But I did see that Cold Slither when it was up for pre-order, when I was ordering something else for Hasbro Pulse. And either it did sell out or I just passed on it at the time. But I said, you know what, I'm here. I want this set. I was at least tempted by it before. I'm going to pick this up, and this is going to be my finale here. And honestly, it's really about the accessories. And the figures are great too, right? They have great costumes, this hair metal band, but I think there's fun opportunities to be had with like a drum set and the keytar and all that. It's cool accessories. It's a hell of a presentation, that huge box. But I'm going to open these guys up and just have some fun with them. So that's going to do it for my pickups and my experience at New York Comic Con. I'll probably be talking about some of these figures on the channel, at least making little posts or reels or something like that. You could check me out on Instagram, Scoopman_5000. Again, I recapped the whole show and took a lot of great pictures there, some that you didn't see in this video. If you're into action figures, stick around here. I'll see you guys in the next video.